Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're taking your time to join me. Good morning and good afternoon to those of you who are joining from the US. Dobre večer to my Croatian family. We got a few of you on this morning. I'm so happy for that. And whether you're joining live or you're catching the replay later, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And before we dive into the astrology, I'd really like us to all just take a moment and simply arrive together in this space. Dwayne and I were just discussing how this really is a collective experience. And so bringing our energy together really is a big part of what makes these forecasts special and magical. So let's just take a nice slow breath in. Notice your body, notice your energy. Notice how you're arriving, and allow your breath to bring just a little more space, just a little more peace, just a little more ease. I realized recently that all that I truly want out of life, out of everything I do, is fun and ease and to be natural. So I want that for you guys this morning too. And I'll invite you just to take a moment to reflect on your journey through this summer so far. We are right in the heart of it. If you've been following my forecasts all year, you know this is the year of the Phoenix Dawn, rise of the Phoenix Dawn. And we are in the middle of gate 3, which is the heart center of 2026. It's really where it's all happening. So feel free to open your eyes as you feel ready. Keep them closed if you prefer. You're welcome to receive this in whatever way feels good to you. Stepping back to June for a moment as we're thinking about summer, I want to just remind everybody that we were exploring what truly sustains our fire. There was a lot of Cancer energy in June, and we were really feeling into what is this year about on a heart level, what's changing in me, what can I truly support from my heart space emotionally. We discovered that growth isn't just about doing more. It begins by tending our own inner conditions, and that is what allows something meaningful to flourish and to grow out of us. July has been inviting us to stop hiding our fire, what we're discovering, the truth that's within us. It also has been inviting us to become more emotionally honest, more authentic, more willing to let ourselves be seen in our truth. So maybe over this past month, you have found yourself questioning old identities, rediscovering forgotten parts of yourself, or maybe finding the courage to express what has been quietly growing within you. If you've been moving with this energy of July, it might make you already be feeling a little bit different about yourself, about your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're louder or not necessarily more confident, but perhaps a little more genuine, a little more aligned, a little more yourself. And that's where we're beginning August, is from hopefully this space of I'm feeling a little more of who I am and how I want to be in the world. And August is really asking us a different question. If July was asking, who am I becoming? Or who am I willing to let others see me becoming? August is taking us a layer deeper. The question in August is, now that my light has become visible, what is it here to illuminate? What is the purpose of my light? So allow that question to just settle within you for a moment. It's one of the most important questions that this month has to offer us. At the end of the day, visibility, even authentic visibility, is not itself a destination. Authentic visibility is preparation. And August is inviting us deeper into not just shining our light, but becoming the wise steward of the light that we've been uncovering. What are we going to do with all this light? July taught us to claim the flame. If you were here in the July forecast, you know that was the theme in July, claim the flame. And August is going to be teaching us how to carry our flame. Not with perfection, not with fear, or maybe not without fear, with fear, without fear, to do it anyway kind of situation, but do it with intention, because a flame held with care eventually becomes something more than just our own personal gain. It can illuminate our path, but then it also becomes a beacon. And a beacon doesn't exist just to draw attention to itself, it is quietly illuminating the path for somebody else. So those who need its guidance naturally recognize its light. And that's the journey that we're going to begin exploring together today before you have the chance to step into it and be living it in the upcoming month. So let me take you through the big picture first. The first part of the month, we can think of it as the stewardship of light. We're still making sense of all that has come in July. It was a busy month. There was a lot of things happening astrologically, and no doubt that reflects what's been happening for you on a more inner level. So August unfolds through a very powerful sequence of astrological events. Probably some of the most powerful energy that we've had all year that kind of rolls from July, continuing to push into August. And I'm kind of thinking of it like the fire horse is now at like full gallop or full brightness, or however you want to think about that. It's what we've been building toward, like season by season, gate by gate, month by month. And within just a few weeks, we are going to move through the Lion's Gate. A total solar eclipse in Leo, a Pisces lunar eclipse, and then finally we have this beautiful end of the month with a Jupiter-Saturn trine that helps us ground everything we've discovered through our year's journey so far into something that's really and truly sustainable for us. So each of those August events that I mentioned, they're actually the same storyline, and they're continuing one upon another. It's a story about becoming more faithful to who you're becoming, that true you, the authentic soul you that's been there all along. And if you know my work, then you know I really believe powerfully in the metaphor of the hero's journey. I think it speaks to all of us. Every meaningful journey begins with a call. Then comes preparation. Then comes the big moment when the call suddenly takes on real meaning because the hero has to make a decision. And that decision is, am I going to step forward? Am I going to move with this call? Or will I just remain as I've always been? In 2026, August is that moment of decision. We've spent this past year preparing for something that we couldn't quite name. And that might look like healing, growing, letting go, finding our voice, learning to trust ourselves. Some beautiful, unique combination, your own secret recipe blend of all of that probably going on. And now the cosmos is asking, what are you ready to carry? Not simply what do you want, but what has your soul been preparing you for? And there's a subtle but profound difference here, because the first question begins with desire. What do you want? But the second question begins with devotion, and it implies a bigger design, something you are meant to meet. What has your soul been preparing you for? So throughout August, the invitation is going to keep returning back, not how brightly can I shine, but what is my light helping others to see? Authentic leadership isn't about just attracting attention, right? It's about becoming trustworthy enough that others recognize your light when they need it the most. And purpose isn't just something we discover, but it's something that happens through stewardship. We steward it through living it, practicing it, embodying it. And this is the deeper call, the deeper movement of Gate 3, the summer season in the Phoenix journey. The Phoenix is not rising only to express itself. It rises to become this beacon. So preparing to carry the flame. Every meaningful journey includes this period of preparation, this space between recognizing the call and fully answering it, fully stepping into it. That was July's work, and August is definitely beginning from that space. So the opening days of the month aren't going to rush us toward the culmination, the big climax of the eclipses, if you will. Instead, the first week and a half or so, it really is gently asking us to notice what is still maybe competing for our attention, what still divides our loyalty, and what's still pulling us away from our deepest knowing, and activating that. So the month begins with Venus squaring Lilith on the first day of the month, August 1st. This energy brings in questions of authenticity and relationship and self-worth, brings those into clearer focus for us. Where have I been compromising my truth in order to preserve harmony? Or where have I mistaken people pleasing for kindness, whether that's in myself or somebody else? Where have I confused belonging with fitting in? And these aren't questions that are meant to be self-judgment. They're invitations to greater honesty, because every time that we abandon our own authentic nature in order to gain acceptance, our light is becoming just a little less steady. You can think of the flickering flame, right? When you blow at it, it's a little less true. It's a little less itself. On August 3rd, we have Chiron stationing retrograde. It's kind of the quiet anchor of the month. Our healing turns inward, and the focus is shifting from the external, like the circumstances, what happened, to those things that hurt us, those things that traumatized us. What's still living within us long after those moments have already passed? So how that might show up for you could be like some old insecurities resurfacing, something that triggers, something really old for you. Old fears around visibility, since we're so much about visibility right now. Questions of worthiness. Am I really worthy of this calling, of this flame that I'm carrying? And there's always going to be like that temptation to shrink ourselves back into old familiar roles. We love our comfort zone, right? So if that happens, don't assume that means you're moving backwards, because healing often unfolds in layers, and the next layer starts to appear because we've grown strong enough to meet it with greater compassion for ourselves. So, we get deeper versions of this same healing that happen over time. Chiron will be retrograde Chiron, yeah, retrograde, right? Yeah. Chiron is in Taurus, by the way, which it spends actually most of its journey in the sign of Aries all the time. It really likes Aries for whatever reason. That's how its orbit works. But so it spends brief periods of time in the other signs, and it's going to be in Taurus. Until sometime next year. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's really kind of an interesting phenomena, since it's not common, and it really opens up some different areas for us to heal. So it is kind of one of those things that's really fascinating about the time that we're living in, because there's this invitation that isn't always there in terms of the healing that's available. August 4th, Lilith comes in again. Mars is going to be in opposition to Lilith. We noticed Lilith having quite a lot of influence this month. Lilith is represented in terms of representation. It's the part of ourselves that we've exiled or we've silenced, that we've held back because we think, it's not acceptable. It's not something people will approve of, maybe. So it's interesting that she's coming into the conversation. And with Mars opposition, this is like a dynamic tension between instinct and authenticity. Lilith, that authenticity that we've been hiding, Mars, instinct. So with Mars, part of you might feel ready to leap, like, I'm ready, let's do this. The Lilith side is the hesitation, right? One is instinctual readiness. The other is these memories of everything that can go wrong, because like, oh, I've been here before, and this is scary space. I'm not sure I want to get into this mess again. And the invitation isn't to ignore the wisdom that your past has given you, but it's to recognize that you're no longer the person who first learned those lessons. You're stronger now than you were before. You have more experience. You've learned a lot more. And so, it's finding that right balance between following the instinct and still remembering that there's some softer part of ourselves that needs some protection or needs some reassurance. On August 6th, Venus is going into Libra, softening up the energy, which is really nice. Relationship returns to the foreground. Libra is about connection and balance and mutual flourishing. So that brings in this question less where July, Leo very heavily about expressing ourselves. Venus, that softness in Libra is like expressing ourselves in ways that create greater harmony. How do we remain true to ourselves while also remaining open to others? How do we let authenticity become a bridge rather than a barrier for us? And those questions are going to prepare us beautifully for what's coming next, that beautiful, all-powerful Lion's Gate. And that comes in on August 8th, and that's what we're sort of leading into. It really creates kind of a whole corridor because of the way the eclipses fall. So we'll walk through that a little bit here. Lots of people, lots of spiritual traditions recognize and celebrate the Lion's Gate. It's 8-8. And if you think about it, 8 is very similar to the infinity sign if we just turn it on its side. That's some nice shorthand for the universe. And the lion, because this date falls in the sign of glorious and powerful Leo. So we get this sort of combination of self-expression and maybe kind of, you could think of it like the blessing of the universe at the same time. And this day has really come to represent heart-centered awakening, creativity, purpose, spiritual alignment, and it's a powerful symbol. Powerful symbols help us to recognize reality, especially the reality that's lying just out of range of our regular 5 physical senses. This year, Lionsgate really feels especially meaningful because of what surrounds it. So there's just a lot of Leo energy going on. It's not just the sun at 8-8 in Leo. Mercury's going to enter Leo on August 9th. We have a total solar eclipse in Leo coming in on the 12th. And by the way, solar eclipse is a type of new moon, and it means that both the sun and moon are in Leo. They're having a little dance together in the sign of Leo. And then Mercury is going to conjoin Jupiter again in the sign of Leo on August 15th. So Leo, 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 Leo party just going on in the sky. Unfortunately, it's kind of an invisible party because with everyone gathering around the sun, it means when the sun dips below the western horizon at sunset, all those planets go with it. So there's no show for us. But if you look into the western sky after sunset, you probably can catch a glimpse of Venus because Venus is trailing behind the partygoers. She's in the sign of Libra. So I don't know, I guess she decided to sit this one out. But back to Leo, the entire middle of August just becomes saturated with this sign's themes of courage and creativity and leadership and authentic purpose. And so what's interesting is that even though Leo Lionsgate is really kind of closely tied to manifestation, a lot of us think of it in those terms, this year's Lionsgate is showing up a bit differently, and it's more like a threshold for us. It's kind of a pause, if you will, before you cross into the new chapter, a checkpoint maybe. And so I would invite you, instead of asking yourself, what do I want to manifest at this moment? Go deeper, go much deeper, because the right question for this particular Lionsgate is, what has my soul been preparing me to carry? That's kind of big, right? But every hero's journey eventually reaches this point where the call has its real meaning. First, it's all fun and it's ego, right? And we're like, woo, woo, look at me, I'm so shiny. We all like the idea that we're specially called. Who doesn't like that? And then, as all heroes do, we start to get the sense of, oh, there's a bigger ask here. Like it's not just shininess and it's just not just, oh, yay, me, but now it's like, ooh, there's this special assignment going on and it's going to require something of me. And we're starting to recognize and realize, hey, that requirement, it's big. It's pretty big. And so that leads us to this moment of we either step toward it, step into it, or we just continue dancing around it because we don't want to fully engage. So for some of us, this calling, it might be about our work. It might be about, what we're bringing into the world. It might be about a relationship. It could be a creative project that you're launching into. It could be a way of serving. For some of you, it could be a long held dream that you've been just quietly circling for years because, oh my God, how would I ever step into that? Right? So here's the thing, and I say this because this is where we often get tripped up. We might freak out a little bit, and then there's that failure to launch. You don't have to know every step yet. You don't have to know the end of the path. You just have to notice what your heart keeps returning to right now. That's the truth. That's the part of you that wants to step into the calling. And that's easier. That's so much easier than imagining we have to have it all figured out and we have to know we're going to succeed. There's no way we can know that far ahead. So that's where I will suggest to put your attention, particularly on the Lion's Gate, because it is that check-in moment is, hey, what's really showing up in my heart right now? Where am I being called at that heart level? Only a few days after we pass through the Lion's Gate, that Leo solar eclipse is going to show up. It's right on the heels, and it's asking us whether we're ready and willing to walk through the doorway that is already beginning to open for us. We get to accept the mantle at this Leo solar eclipse. So as we move into the middle of the month, everything we've been reflecting on begins gathering momentum. On August 12th, we arrive at the heart center of this chapter that expresses the whole year, like in a breath, in a blink. The Leo solar eclipse is here, and solar eclipses often mark the beginning of a new chapter. They don't simply introduce new ideas, they reveal that we've reached a point where something new is ready to emerge. This eclipse arrives in Leo, the sign of authentic self-expression, creativity, courage, wholehearted leadership, and it's asking us to consciously carry the person we've already been becoming. This eclipse highlights the kind of growth that doesn't arrive through dramatic reinvention. Instead, it's arriving when we finally stop negotiating with what our heart has known all along, when we step into that heart truth. For some, this eclipse may illuminate a creative calling. For others, it might be a new way of leading. Others still, it might simply bring in this quiet certainty that it's time. It's time to stop waiting for permission. So whatever emerges for you, notice that that invitation is different from July. The question is no longer, am I willing to be seen? But the question is becoming, what am I ready to carry? What am I ready to stand for? What am I ready to do the hard work for? Because there's always going to be hard work. What am I willing to show up for day after day? The days surrounding the eclipse are going to give really beautiful support to this shift that's happening. Mercury out of retrograde now, we can all say oh, hallelujah. It's going to form some really beautiful harmonious aspects with Uranus on August 12th, with Venus on August 13th, and then it's going to join Jupiter and Leo on August 15th. So Mercury, very much in the conversation. That means insight is going to flow more easily. Some conversations you're having might open some unexpected doors that you didn't see that possibility before. Ideas can connect in ways that they haven't, and you might experience moments that just feel less like learning something new and more like remembering something that you've always known, this really natural way of experiencing knowledge and truth and information, just kind of a natural flow of it. And those moments are worth paying attention to. When we get these like really supportive aspects, it can be easy to overlook them because they feel light and easy. They're not really forcing our attention, but you want to really lean into them because there's so much there for you. And you may find this clarity comes in as this brilliant new idea or some kind of quiet recognition. And either way, you might feel this sense of, oh yeah, of course. This has been here all along. Why didn't I see it before? Those moments are the turning points that they don't just reshape a moment, right? They can reshape an entire season of life, take you in a totally new direction. And then the second half of August, we are embodying the calling. The first half of August, because of all that Mercury energy, because of all the eclipses, it can be very heady, very inspirational. It's very up here, exciting, really good, exciting stuff. But then this end carries like of the month, the end of the month carries this very different kind of energy altogether, and that energy is embodiment, because Virgo starts coming into the picture. And the sun goes there August 22nd. Leo starts asking us to express the light. Now Virgo is saying, let's live it. If Leo was saying express it, Virgo is saying, sure, let's live it though, not just express it. So this transition is there to remind us that purpose isn't measured by all the extraordinary moments or the few extraordinary moments. It's really shaped in all the ordinary moments that we have, the conversations that we're choosing, the promises that we're keeping, the habits that we're cultivating, the ways we show up when no one is watching. Those are Virgo energy totally, and we're going to be stepping more and more into that towards the end of August and as we move into September. If you join me next time, you'll hear a lot about how Virgo is emerging and expanding and blossoming, and taking us to the next level of our journey. So inspiration may awaken us, but practice is what is really transformational. As soon as the sun goes into Virgo, just a few days later, Mercury is right on the sun's tail, entering Virgo on the 25th. And as it does so, sun as well, they're going to form this lovely trine with that healer Chiron, because Chiron's in the first degrees of Taurus, and Virgo and Taurus, they love each other. They're both earth signs. So we get some really nice insights, right? When Mercury hooks up with Chiron, we maybe see it more, hear it more, realize it more consciously. Mercury energy is quite conscious. And there's an opportunity here to organize what has been emerging, to give language to the new insights, to communicate with greater precision and compassion. Healing becomes something we can not only understand, but also embody. And on August 27th, kind of the release valve, if you will, Pisces lunar eclipse brings emotional completion to the month's journey. The solar eclipse opened a doorway, and the lunar eclipse is asking, okay, if I'm going to carry this big calling, what do I need to set down before I walk through this door? Because it's not going to help me or support me in carrying this new calling. So perhaps it's an outdated identity, a role you've outgrown, a definition of success that just no longer fits for you, an expectation that's just too heavy at this point to carry. You can't carry that and carry this calling. Maybe it's just a belief that you have to earn your right to be here. Pisces reminds us that not everything is accomplished through effort. Some things arrive through trust, through surrender, through allowing life to meet us where we've stopped trying to control every outcome. So it's not passive trust, it's participatory trust. We have to choose it. The willingness to keep taking faithful steps without needing to see that entire path. And then we get to close out the month with one of the most supportive aspects of the year. It's lovely cherry on top, Jupiter trine Saturn. Jupiter trine Saturn. So Leo inspires us, Virgo is grounding us, and Jupiter and Saturn come together and help us build something that can endure. Vision meeting structure, expansion meeting discipline, hope meeting commitment. That's what those two bring together. This aspect reminds us that lasting impact rarely happens in one dramatic moment. It's really growing through steady devotion, one authentic choice, one honest conversation, one courageous step at a time. And that's how the future begins to take shape, not through urgency, but through that kind of boring, yes, consistency. Consistency is necessary. So I'm going to speak to the soul-led creators in the room, and that means all of you, because we are all on the path somewhere in this process of becoming soul-led creators. You might already be putting something out there. You might be emerging into that. You might be just thinking about it and not sure about it yet, or you might have not figured it out yet. And all of those things don't change anything. You're still a soul-led creator because we all are. So for the soul-led creators, August is an invitation, not simply to build business, but to deepen your relationship with the work that you're here to do. July asked us to become more visible, and August is asking us to become more intentional. If you are serving people, here's a way to shift the question. Instead of how do I reach more people, how about how do I serve my people more deeply? Those people that are already in my boat. This month is inviting us to remember that people are rarely transformed by someone who appears to have all the answers. They're really transformed by someone who has the courage to walk the path themselves and to show that, to admit it outwardly that you are not perfection. So this question leads to this phase of what transformation am I becoming trustworthy enough to guide? And I guarantee you that that transformation that you are trustworthy enough to guide is probably your own transformation, because it's the one that you lived. It's you finished the journey. Now you lived enough. Well, even if you haven't finished the journey, the fact of the matter is you've lived enough of it to walk beside someone else with honesty, humility, and compassion, and to begin to show them the way. That's what stewardship looks like. Authenticity creates resonance, and consistency builds trust. And trust creates the conditions for real, meaningful transformation. And that's it, right? Transformation becomes your contribution. The work isn't to become more impressive, it's to become more congruent, because the people you're here to serve, they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for someone whose life reflects the wisdom that they share, who live it. It is 10:30. My God, I had a lot to talk about today. I would love for those of you who have time to do a little guided visualization, because I'm a big believer in moving it from the head, which is what we just did. We put it all in our head, to bringing it into embodiment through really feeling into it, through experiencing it. So I am going to dive into a guided visualization. I completely understand if you are out of time and you need to drop off, no problem whatsoever. If you want to go back and do it, the visualization later, there will be a recording. I will send it out to all of you guys after the session. And yeah, so let's jump in. So the visualization, I'm calling it Becoming the Beacon. So I invite you to just close your eyes if that feels comfortable. You're more than welcome to turn off your video at this time. Take a nice, slow, steady breath in. Let it go. Allow your feet to be in contact with the earth. Allow them to ground you. At the same time, allow your crown to be open. Allow all of the beauty, the light, the love, the knowledge and wisdom of the universe to enter in. As you breathe, imagine yourself standing at a quiet shoreline at dusk. The air is still. The sea stretches out before you. And you're just standing beside a beautiful old lighthouse. It's strong, it's weathered, and it's steady. It has stood here through calm seas and through fierce storms alike. As darkness settles, that lighthouse's beam begins to glow and to slowly turn. With each gentle sweep, it illuminates a different part of the landscape.
Someone is at the front door.
The cliffs,
Someone is at front door.
the shoreline,
Someone is at the front door.
the open water. I don't know who is at the front door, but maybe they want to come into this visualization too. This lighthouse, this beam, it isn't searching for anything. It isn't trying to convince anyone. It isn't stretching or pushing or striving or reaching. It simply stands, and it's fulfilling its purpose. lighting its surroundings with an unwavering, peaceful ease. As you watch, you start to notice something out in the distance. It's a little small boat out there. It's quietly making its way across the water. The lighthouse, it's not calling the boat toward itself. It's just simply making the path visible. Take another slow breath. Imagine that that same steady light is beginning to awaken within you. Not brighter than before, simply clearer, more grounded, more fully your own. Ask yourself gently, what has my life been preparing me to illuminate? Take a moment with that question. What has my life been preparing me to illuminate? Allow whatever arises naturally. You don't have to reach for it. Just allow what comes. A word, an image, perhaps it's a memory or a feeling. Maybe it's a knock on the door. Now ask yourself one more question. Who or what is quietly served when I remain true to what I've been entrusted to carry? Again, no need to force an answer. Just notice whatever your heart offers right now. And if nothing's there at the moment, that's okay too. Just hold that possibility and allow that if you're open to it, it may come to you later. In the shower, on a walk, someplace where you're allowed to just let your mind go. This is going to be your compass for the month ahead. A reminder that your light doesn't have to reach everyone. It only needs to be faithfully lived. It only needs you to believe in it. Take one more deep breath. As you feel ready, allow yourself to return to this moment, opening your eyes, turning on your video if you like. And I know again that we're a little over, but I always do love to end the session together with pulling a card. And my intention is never to predict exactly what's going to happen this month, whether I'm pulling cards or doing astrology. It is always just to illuminate the quality of energy that can best support us as we walk this path together. So if you're here in the room now, or if you're watching this recording later, this card is for you. It's for us, all of us together. So take its message with you and reflect on how it supports your journey in the coming months, how it speaks to the question for you of what your life has been preparing you to illuminate, how you're stepping into this moment of becoming. All right, here's the card. Ooh, interesting. Okay, can we see it? I know it's going to probably flip on me here. Let's see. Let me change my settings really quick so you guys can see it. We have to think we have to take off the virtual background. That probably will fix it. There you go. You can see my messy office. It's not too bad, a little bit bad. There you go. So that's Saturn, and at the bottom it says structure. So I think that's kind of fascinating, structure, as we're moving from this Leo energy into Virgo. That's where my mind goes. I'm gonna find it in my little booklet here and see if it has some more depth for you guys, or any like keywords that stand out. So Saturn, structure, keywords: systems, discipline, fear, challenges, restrictions, obligations. If you're pulling this card, you're being asked to embrace sacred systems. In business astrology, Saturn represents the way in which you approach formal systems and structure, as well as responsibilities and obligations. Systems, structures, and boundaries help our business, and really our lives too, to run more efficiently and have a bigger impact and reach, and in doing so provide us with more freedom. So the question this card asks: do you need to review your systems and structures to identify any bottlenecks in your business or in your life? Maybe you should invest money into a system that automates or streamlines manual tasks, or engage a system implementer. So how can I embrace systems and structures in my life and business, and what would my most efficient and streamlined business look like? That's very interesting, I feel like, because it's like with these systems, we're able to more efficiently bring that authentic visibility to light. So very interesting. Virgo already calling us to look at our structure so we can carry more. I like it. I like it. I'm going to end the recording here. Well